The American barn owl is a cavity dweller. They nest and roost in tree holes, caves, and cracks in cliff faces, even during times when they're not incubating eggs or caring for nestlings. Across much of North America, barn owls are listed as vulnerable, imperiled, or critically imperiled, and in Connecticut they are critically imperiled. They're very rarely seen in our area, and that's why when a place called Hope received several injured barn owl nestlings within a short period of time, we knew something was very wrong. We attached a camera to a 25-foot pole and used it to inspect all of the potential cavities in the building structure where the fallen nestlings were found. We found lots of poop, lots of pellets, and also lots of scary, sharp objects, including nails, spiked truss plates, and hurricane tie-down rods. It was very hazardous in this nest cavity, almost like an Iron Maiden inside. Here's another cavity in the building. And check it out, there's a barn owl. That's so cool. Inside that cavity were the same hazards left by, say, hasty construction methods. And here's the real problem. At the opening to the cavity, there's nothing resembling a tree branch. No features or structure for the nestlings to jump around on and flap their wings and build strength. Their only option is to either remain safe inside the cavity getting zero exercise, or leap 25 feet down onto a concrete foundation. This is why they were all getting injured. We found 3 nestlings in this wall. It was impossible to re-nest these without tearing the wall apart, which we deemed too dangerous. When young birds are this close to fledging, we typically won't intervene to avoid scaring them into fledging prematurely, even if the nest is compromised. We waited until after this nesting cycle was completely finished. Later that summer, we returned to inspect all the cavities one last time to make sure nobody was home, and then we closed up and sealed off every opening in every wall of the building. We installed 2 barn owl nest boxes that are large enough to house plenty of nestlings inside safely and stretch their wings inside. And we added some perches nearby for the nestlings to branch out close to the opening and jump around and do their exercising. We installed a camera to monitor the project, and within only a couple of days, the adults had taken to the new box. We left them alone and checked the camera about once a month. Check this out. Mom comes screaming out of the driveway as if she's owned the place forever. And the following spring, all of a sudden, they're mating. That's awesome. Here's the first food delivery. Looks like a European starling to me. Now here's an important part of the mating process. Dad handing off food to Mom inside the nest. And all of a sudden, a nestling. And 2 nestlings. And they're hungry. We're very grateful to the property owners for allowing us to enter their property, work on their building, and provide better options for these barn owls. There were some safety and legal concerns at first, but the owners are excited about the owls, and everyone involved just wanted to do what's best for this sacred species. So we signed the needed paperwork, we discussed a safety protocol, and we went to work. It's so good to see them thriving like this. There is a lot of competition among various species to find the perfect shape and size of cavity for nesting. Barn owls have adapted to a loss of habitat by roosting and nesting inside barn-like buildings, sheds, steeples, silos, and other cavernous structures with an access opening. It solves the problem of competition with other species, but also exposes them to the hazards associated with humans and the way our structures are designed. But with a few simple modifications to our buildings and a willingness to coexist, we can safely enable the barn owls to raise a family and hopefully bolster the population a little bit. Our nest boxes include a partition with a narrow passageway just large enough for barn owls to squeeze through. In regions where great horned owls also live, this is critical to prevent our precious nestlings from being preyed upon. The great horned owls can eat something else. The Nest camera didn't record any audio, but here's some audio of our resident barn owls at a place called Hope. That spot where the adult is perched seems like a very interesting place to go. This is the first video of a nestling completely outside the box and exploring that perch. There's a lot of what we call winger sizing going on, which is exactly what they need to be able to do. Barn owls are a little different from other owls in that they're much less competitive for territory. They tolerate other barn owls roosting and hunting nearby. In the western United States, where barn owl populations are much healthier, some farms have lots of barn owl boxes along the perimeter, spaced only 20 or 30 feet apart. The owls provide free pest control, and the farms don't need to use any rodenticides to protect the crops. Every owl box is occupied by barn owls, with a few American kestrel families mixed in. Even though kestrels prefer smaller cavities and smaller openings, they will sometimes take advantage of barn owl boxes. This is why we were very comfortable installing 2 nest boxes in the same building. Right about the time we saw this next video, with this little misstep right there, that little misstep, we quietly snuck up and installed the front porch, and immediately everybody came out and loved it. And any barn owl nest box that we do from this point forward will always have a front porch underneath the main perch. As you can see, it was an important feature during the development of these fledglings. Here's the only audio the camera actually captured. And they're all flying away. These are the last videos where the fledglings were seen. They no longer need the nest and went off into the wild to begin learning how to hunt. They've likely selected a roosting place nearby that suits their current needs. And this winter, the adults are back at the box and will likely reuse it again in the spring. And we're curious if any of the offspring will utilize the second box that we installed.